The singular product that gets all the credit for calming down my very acne prone, very sensitive skin is squalane oil. I personally use the 100% squalane oil from Biossance and have been using it for years. So I'm gonna walk you through how I incorporate it in my routine and then how I recommend you incorporate it into your routine, because I definitely go a little overboard. So first off, let's decide if you should be using squalane oil in your routine. I think everyone should use squalane oil, but if you have skin like me, you might like it even a little bit more. I have very acne prone skin that's very sensitive. Like I said, at a certain point, I was treated on Accutane. I have been on every single acne medication in the book. And that is definitely one of the reasons why my skin is so sensitive. I'm 30 years old, which means when I was like a preteen starting to get acne for the first time, the first step was to use Proactive and like no moisturizer. So my skin has been very unhappy for a very long time. I have a hard time describing my skin as either dry or oily. I get out of the shower and my skin is always very, very, very tight, very dry, no matter what temperature I have the water on. But then I do tend to get a little bit oily and shiny throughout the day. So that's why when it comes to defining my skin type, I just say I have sensitive acne prone skin, because I would rather over moisturize and get a little bit oily than under moisturize and have irritation and get breakouts. That is why squalane oil was such a good choice for me, because it really moisturized my skin in a way that I had never felt before. I had never had another moisturizer, whether it was daytime, night cream, anything that gave me the level of moisture that squalane oil does. So I got addicted to that stuff really quick. As the label suggests, there is just squalane oil in this bottle. So if you have sensitivities to anything other than squalane, I think you'll probably be fine to use this. But here is my one and only criticism of this product. The bottle has a pump, and this is straight up oil. You can see it kind of swirling around in there. I find the pump very difficult to control. It's hard to get just a little bit out. If I've already put some on and I want just a little bit more, half the time if I'm using the pump, I will accidentally pump out a lot more, and then it's going to waste, or I've now over moisturized. It's just kind of difficult. So I actually usually transfer my squalane oil to an eyedropper bottle. This is one that I repurposed from The Ordinary. This is their hyaluronic acid serum that I don't use anymore. So I just repurposed the bottle and put the squalane oil in here. This way you get a nice little eyedropper, so you can control getting just one drop at a time. Like I said, that's my only criticism of the product. And if you are introducing yourself to squalane oil, I definitely recommend transferring it to an eyedropper bottle, because you're gonna wanna play around with the amount that you're gonna use. So because my skin is so sensitive, this is unhinged, but I use squalane oil just straight up as a moisturizer. So at night, I'll put on either my glycolic acid or my retinol, and then as my final step, I just layer on squalane oil and go to sleep looking like a Krispy Kreme glazed donut. My method is usually to just put however many drops I need in my hand, warm it up, and then transfer it onto my face. I do not recommend taking the eyedropper and squeezing it directly onto your face. Number one, that's unsanitary no matter what product you're doing that with. And two, if you're doing it with squalane oil, you will absolutely use too much, and then it'll be like dripping off your face and it'll be kind of nasty. Then in the morning, I'll usually put on my vitamin C serum, whatever kind of peptide serum I might have. Then I will put on a little layer of squalane oil, and then of course, a ton of sunscreen. Both in the morning and at night, whatever's left over on my hands, I'll usually take down my neck and to my chest. Now, as we've established, I'm a very advanced squalane oil user. So if you're just getting started with squalane oil, I highly suggest adding a few drops of squalane oil to a moisturizer that you already use and you already love. Your skin might need just a little extra boost of moisturizer. You might not need to go all in right away. I would not recommend adding this to any makeup products that you might use, because oil and makeup typically don't go together. That being said, make sure when you're applying squalane oil to your face, you wait a little bit to let it all sink in before you apply the makeup. Let me know if you're interested in trying squalane oil, and let me know if you have any other questions about how maybe you should use it.